Hello, anime addicts and cartoon fanatics. It is me, Chol Yerlow, and I am here to discuss the movie I just got done seeing. That's not a proper way to say it, but you know what I mean. How to Train Your Dragon 2. And I have a little bit to talk about, and there's so much I want to talk about. Of course, the issue is with, not spoiling, because I do not want to spoil. This is just a quick review. This is not a analysis per se. Now, before I get into it, let me discuss a few things about the first film. What I loved about the first film. As you know, in the first film, Hiccup is dealing with the, being different from everyone else. He doesn't think the same as everyone else. He doesn't have that Viking mentality, and he has to deal with that. And in the process of finding Toothless for the first time and everything, he learns about what dragons are about. He learns that they're not as vicious as they seem, and it goes through, and he well, you know the story. I can't really explain it better than that. Now, there's a few key things about the first film that I really loved. One was and DreamWorks is good with this with anything. It's the facial animations, the subtle hints of expression that say so much and are so powerful. If you read my blog on Astrid's character from the first one, that's a prime example of that right there. Another thing is just the awe of learning about the dragons, of seeing the dragons for the first time, the experience of falling into the world of dragons and all that. There's that element. There's also, like, another key element is the moment when Astrid and Hiccup are on the hill, looking out after they've run off to try to find the alpha dragon. That little speech there, it's one of the moments that just really stuck with me. The wording, and everything like that. And then there's the, kind of, if I had to express a big awe moment, it'd probably be when the big, it's the queen of the nest, kind of, not the alpha dragon, shows up. That kind of awe moment. And put all that together, and that makes why I love How to Train Your Dragon. How did the sequel hold up? It surpassed a lot of that in a lot of ways that I did not expect at all. Now, as you've seen through the trailers, and a lot of people are saying that the trailers are showing too much. No, trust me, the key best parts of this movie are not shown in the trailers at all, or not expressed in a way that you can understand what's going on. This story is about Hiccup having to deal with the idea of becoming chief, and the ideas of, he knows he's different from everyone else, and his issue is that he finds that as a problem, as a stepping stone of becoming chief. Like in the first film, he didn't have the Viking sense, and because of that, he feels himself so different that he doesn't feel comfortable with the role or the idea. And then, of course, he stumbles upon, and by the way, I am trying to keep this as spoiler-free as possible. He stumbles upon these people of, I can't remember, it's not warriors, but the people of I forget the guy's name, Drago Bloodfist, I believe is his name. And they learn that they've been capturing dragons to start a war. And when he goes and tells his father about it, his first idea is to go and try to stop him, to reason with him. And his father's like, no, that's not how it's done. That's not going to work with him. You have to protect your own. And he doesn't agree with this. He doesn't like this, so he goes off. And then he meets his mother for the first time. Another thing you see in the trailer, so that's not a spoiler at all. And he learns how his mother left, what happened there. I'm not going to spoil that. I'll let the viewers go see and how that turned out. And then from that, he gets his connection because his mother was just like him, didn't kind of believe in the Viking way, and they had the connection there. But then there's another point where he goes, well, let's team up and let's go talk to Draco. Forgive me if I am saying his name wrong. I cannot remember. I can remember Bloodfist, but I can't remember the first part. And she gives the same thing. She says, no, we protect our own. And that's another little clash there. And by the end of it, it's a good kind of point. Like if you look at the first film, it's dealing with, being different and working with it. And then this film is kind of pointing out that, yeah, you do have a different way of thinking, but that doesn't mean it's always right. There's a point where you have to look at other people's opinions and other things and ways of doing it. And sometimes, as crazy as something sounds, it's probably the right way because, and no spoilers here, but because he tries to take his approach, it leads to disaster. And that's all I'm going to say. But there's that. So for a kind of message of the film, it works. I like that part. Another thing, like everyone going into this film knows, okay, the father sees the mother again for the first time. And by the way, that little short moment you see in the trailer where he talks to his wife for the first time, it is so wonderfully paced and put together, and it really will pull at your heartstrings. But the moment that comes after that is the moment that just astounded me, that I could not believe I couldn't see coming. I was going under this, and like a friend of mine said that it was he declared it as not as good as the first or whatever, and kind of a letdown. So I'm going into this film thinking, okay, something's going to happen. Something's going to be letting me down. And this moment here was complete opposite of that. I was expecting when there was discussion with the father and the mother, there'd be a lot of dialogue, a lot of kind of awkwardness of trying to reconnect or whatever. I didn't know how they were going to do this. Now, this is going to sound funny when you first hear this. Stoic starts singing. And if you think that sounds silly, it's not. It is one of the most genuine, sentimental, emotional moments that need no words to explain itself. All it is Stoic is recreating a song that apparently that was done, I assume is done in proposal or whatnot, to propose to her. He starts singing it. And you feel that heartfelt emotion as he's trying to push the lyrics through, push the notes through. And then she eventually continues the song. And then they have this big, rambunctious dance and singing moment. And it is that won me over so much on this film. This is something that a lot of filmmakers need to see. This is how moments like this are done. It was such a beautiful moment. And other moments that it's hard to describe any other moments of this film without spoiling, but let's just say that the big awe moment, the holy moment for me in the first film was kind of like seeing the queen or the queen of the nest dragon, like that. That's the closest thing I can think of. The moment in this film far surpasses that. And all I can say is it shows just how more there is to learn about Toothless and dragons to begin with. It is, and that's really all I can say about this film. It is, like without spoiling. I guess another element I can talk about is the 3D. I kind of wonder if people oversell the 3D of the first film just a bit, because as I'm watching it, It's not bad, don't get me wrong, but I don't think it's that impressive. It's worth it for certain key moments, but I kind of feel like the first film was a bit better. Maybe it was just how certain scenes were shot and filmed. You know, camera angles and stuff like that, I think worked better in the first film than it did this one. But I wouldn't write off not seeing it in 3D. It did have moments that worked. But if you are unsure about going and seeing it in 3D, you know, I would suggest going ahead and just seeing it in 2D. I think it would be a tad bit brighter. It wasn't dark like some films are when they're done in 3D, but I still could have probably enjoyed it more and focused more if it was in 2D. But that's all I can say really about the film. I highly, highly suggest go seeing this and experiencing these moments that awestruck me. And that's all I gotta say. I'm Chol Yerlow, and that is my quick review analysis.